Hey everyone, welcome. Great to have you here for this week's ACRUX webinar. Quick bit of housekeeping before we jump in. If questions come up as we go, please drop them in the chat and I'll tackle them at the end. Today, I want to talk about SCX Playbook and really just one big idea. AI is getting smarter, but most organizations still lose value because the AI doesn't remember enough. What we're building is a way to turn organizational knowledge into something AI can actually use, retain, and improve with over time. So this is not just about getting better answers, it's about moving from one-off AI outputs to lasting organizational intelligence. Let's start with the problem. Enterprise AI is powerful, no question, but in most organizations, it still doesn't really understand how the work gets done. It doesn't know the unwritten rules. It doesn't know the exceptions. It doesn't know the difference between the official process and what actually happens in practice. And every time you start a new chat, switch tools, or hand work to someone else, a lot of that context just disappears. If you want to go deeper on what this looks like in practice, by the way, check out George Yee's webinar, Anatomy of a Copilot Failure, on our YouTube channel. It's a great companion to the session because it shows what happens when AI sounds capable but loses the thread in real world work. So, back to the matter at hand, the issue is not that the model is weak, it's that it lacks organizational memory. And without memory, even very impressive AI stays surprisingly shallow. So naturally, teams try to solve this. They use prompting, they use RAG, they use fine tuning, and all of those help, but none of them fully solve the problem. Prompting is temporary, RAG can retrieve information, but it doesn't decide what matters over time. Fine tuning can be powerful, but it's often slow, expensive, and hard to keep current. So teams end up doing the same thing again and again, rebriefing the AI, re-uploading documents, re-explaining decisions, and recreating context from scratch. That's tiring, it's inefficient, and it's not really scalable. So here's the shift. SCX Playbook moves AI from being stateless to having living organizational memory. Instead of treating every interaction like a fresh start, the system captures useful context, keeps it beyond a single session, and improves it through real usage. That means each task starts with more understanding than the one before. And that's the mindset change here. The system is not just answering questions, it's building memory, learning patterns, and getting sharper over time. So, how does that actually work? At a high level, Playbook is a memory system built for enterprise delivery. It uses agents to extract and refine knowledge, a graph-based memory layer to connect ideas and dependencies, and feedback loops so the system improves when people correct or refine its output. The important thing is this is not just document storage. It's a structured way of understanding how work fits together: people, decisions, artifacts, relationships, and trade offs. And that is much closer to how organizations actually operate in real life. The nice part is it doesn't have to start as a giant transformation program. You don't need to boil the ocean. Playbook can start small: one team, one engagement, one delivery flow. Then you connect the key materials: documents, project history, stakeholder context, prior outputs. From there, the memory starts taking shape. And once people begin using it in real work, each correction and each iteration makes it better. So the value doesn't only come later, you can start seeing it early, and then it compounds. Let's make this concrete with a real world case study. A senior analyst at a Big Five consultancy was working on a complex transformation program. They had to access strong AI tools, which on paper sounds great, but in practice, every session came with a hidden tax. They had to rebrief the model. They had to sort through conflicting file versions. They had to recover decisions that only existed in meetings or someone's head. And every handoff risked losing context all over again. So the pain isn't that the AI makes mistakes. The pain is that the system keeps forgetting. Now compare that with what changed after they adopted Playbook. Instead of rebriefing the AI every time, the analyst and their team had a powerful system that retained project memory, understood decision history, and improved with every interaction. The results were almost immediate. A technical requirements document, or TRD, that used to take a month could be done in a week, with first drafts much closer to the final. A new PM could instantly pull key decisions, dependencies, and change history without hours of handoff. And when team members changed, the work kept moving because the project memory stayed in the system, not in someone's notes. So the output stopped being just chat responses. It became real consulting artifacts, TRDs, design docs, architecture summaries, and stakeholder ready deliverables. And in one case, the analyst said it saved the project $100,000 by surfacing an option none of the experts had even considered. And that's the shift. The AI stops being a stateless assistant and starts becoming a real organizational advantage. So, how does the system improve over time? Through a simple loop: run, reflect, revise. One agent completes the task and captures what context matters. Another evaluates what worked, what was missing, and where the output could be better. Then a revise agent updates the playbook so the next task starts from a stronger position. So learning is not accidental, it's built into the workflow. Every interaction becomes a chance to improve the system for the next interaction. And that is where the compounding value comes from. This brings us to the memory model itself. A lot of AI systems rely heavily on unstructured text, and text is useful, but it can also be messy, repetitive, and ambiguous. Playbook uses a graph-based memory approach instead. That means entities are explicit, relationships are clear, and the system can navigate dependencies much more directly. Who owns what change, what connects to what, and what supersedes it. So instead of searching through a pile of context and hoping something relevant turns up, it can move through the logic of the organization much more deliberately. And this matters because in enterprise work, facts are often conditional. What's true for one client may not be true for another. What was correct last quarter may not be correct now. What is policy in one context may be an exception in another. That is exactly where generic AI often gets into trouble. It sounds confident, but it flattens all the nuance. Playbook is designed to handle that complexity more honestly. It can track provenance, surface conflicts, and preserve the context around why something is true, when it is true, and for whom it is true. And that makes a huge difference in enterprise settings. So if we zoom out, the distinction becomes pretty clear. Traditional enterprise AI mainly helps you retrieve information. Playbook helps you build and reuse understanding. Traditional systems treat sessions as isolated. Playbook carries context forward. Traditional systems are often roughly as useful on day one as on day 100. Playbook gets better as the organization uses it. So, not just smarter outputs, but persistent, improving organizational memory. So, I'll close on that one thing that I'd like everyone to remember: memory is the moat. When every interaction strengthens the system, your organization stops paying the same context tax over and over again. Knowledge stays, context compounds, and capability grows. And over time, that becomes a real competitive advantage. Not just better AI, but a smarter organization. Thank you.